Welcome to another episode of Our Ventura. I am your guest host, Yvette Araujo, and I'm here today with J. Anthony Jones. He is the writer and author of Live by the Gun, Die by the Gun. Hi, Jay.
How you doing?
How are you?
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. What inspired you to write this book? It's a very provocative cover here, so tell us what inspired you and a little bit about what the book is about.
Well, I've always been an outspoken person. First of all, I was into music before writing, and I just wanted to give people a vision of what I put in my music into a book. I wanted more people of color to read, and I wanted to give people of more of a, let me see, what can I say? A street perspective than the perspective that they've been seeing. And I believe that a lot of people have been seeing a watered down street perception of what they need to understand that's going on probably in their household, people that don't know what their kids is involved in. It can give a blueprint to what to look for, a blueprint on how we can all come together as people. Because in the book, it taught me diversity, because without diversity, you got a lot of ignorance. A lot of people don't understand what the other person is going through, probably because they just don't want to know. So they don't understand what's going on, and what they don't understand, they just shut out. So I just gave them my perception of how I perceive things, highlighted potholes that the youth in the back of me can see before they step into it. They can see my situation, or this is close to another situation that either I unheard of, I went through, or whatever. I just wanted to highlight the cliff so many youngsters don't fall off of it.
Okay,
you know?
So would you say this is, although it will inspire diversity, are you catering your audiences towards more of the urban youth to get a feel, or you want this to be across the board so everyone, as you said, can understand what this type of life is all about without it being watered down or dramatized?
I want it to be across the board, but the urban life has so much influence across the whole world, whether they're in the suburb, the urban area, or whatever.
Okay.
A lot of kids get into urban music. They don't physically want to get into that lifestyle, but they get into urban music and they'll start believing that this is what's really going on, and probably will want to get into that right there.
Okay.
And I'm letting them know in this book or in the music that I entertain, that a lot of these rappers or book writers don't go home and tell their kid, well, you know, I was just playing about this right here. The real world is like this right here. You know, they'll send another kid off the cliff and come home and save their kid. You know, so I just I walk them through the fire instead of walking them around the fire. I let them know, no, this is what's going on inside here, where you might not want to be a part of this.
So, okay, tell us then a little bit about this book and how it touches that very subject that you're speaking about. That kid out there that thinks things are, one way and are kind of, they make it so glamorous, like the lifestyle. So,
like say for instance, incarceration. A lot of kids think that it's cool to go to jail. I thought that once upon a time. I had a mentality that if I go to jail, then I would be respected a little bit more, or so forth. But and even in the book, I talk about how the consequences behind going to jail.
Okay.
Because I thought that I was accepting all the responsibility, wasn't nobody else going through it, until I had to see my mother cry. I had to talk to her on the phone and really hear what I was putting her through. And it wasn't just me going through it. So I want so many other people to know you got choices, and it's so many other things to do besides what you might go through here. You just seeing the outdraft of it. This is the inside, the core of this. And it's not fun and games like you think it is. It's easy to go to jail, it's easy to get in trouble, but it's hard to get out.
Okay, and so Why this cover? Why with the stereotypical urban feel of the cars, the jewelry, the the gang life type of thing,
Right.
where so many, even, I mean, more readily so in the suburbs, like you said, in the rural areas, are attracted to this type of life, type of thing, because it's so glamorized. Why not use something different to pull your audience in, or to make people actually want to pick up this book? Or do you think this is provocative enough to do that?
I picked this because I wanted to show the live by the gun is all of the glamorous cars and all of that type of stuff that's on them. The die by the gun, if you also see this abandoned apartments in the back, so it's this life or this life that you can that can lead you to another life.
Okay.
And I wanted the book to captivate people that were really of this lifestyle and know this lifestyle. It's an interesting looking book. And people that's not of that to see, well, what is this book about? Let me see.
Okay.
I felt like it matched the cover of the book, the meaning of the book, live by the gun, die by the gun.
So
And
you explained what live by the gun, now the other half die by the gun. What point were you trying to make with that? The other half.
to accept whatever consequences come with the life that you were living. You know?
So there are so many, I would say anywhere between 14 years of age, maybe even younger, you would probably know best, that have this mental, look, I'm not going to make it till I'm 17 or 18 anyway, so, live hard, die fast type of thing, or live fast, die young. So what would you say to those youth, both male and female, of all diversities, that kind of mental of thinking?
I had that same mentality.
Really?
And I told my son this on our way here that you have to listen to people that already been where you headed to, and it's like a person coming from the future telling you, look, it's me. I'm gonna go through, you're gonna go through what I went through. So let me put it all out on the line right here. This is what you might need to do right now. This is what you, and I told him, you're a smart individual. It'll click, but you have to give somebody else the chance because you are a kid. Even though you're smart, you're not an adult. And it's things that I can tell you that you could bypass getting in a whole lot of trouble that I went through.
So do you think this is more relevant for young men of color? Or,
Yes.
or all men,
I
or
believe,
young men?
I believe that it's relevant for more men of color, but everybody can learn from it. More men of color because I talk about the court system. I talk about what I had to go through. That I talk about things that they probably see on a daily basis.
In real time, or on television?
In real life.
Okay.
And other people might see it on television. But the people that see it in real life are more subject to go through it.
Okay.
So
are they living in those areas, you would say, or they're living outside those areas and they're trying to emulate the lifestyle? Both. Which is worse?
Both.
Because one is survival and one is imitation. So
I believe worse is living inside of there.
Okay. When that's all you know?
Because it's a little bit more serious when you get involved. Outside of it, you can get corrected. You get corrected real quick and put back in your place.
Okay.
Right here, you get put back in your place. A lot of people feel like you are in your place.
Okay.
And you're a product of your environment. But so many other times that I've seen people tired of their environment and change it. So I kind of believe you are a product of your environment, and then again, I feel like that's an excuse too.
It would be, because I think last we spoke, I mean, you have two solid parents, and you came from, and which is rare for anybody these days. It doesn't matter what your culture is, but the average household has a single parent raising children. So you had it more fortunate than others, to where you had a male figure in your life and a female figure in your life. So how do you explain that, the choices that you made? Was it because you wanted to fit in? Was it because of the close environment around you? Or were you just not hearing what they had to say, and this was teenage rebellion at its finest?
I think all of the above.
Okay.
Because being that I had both parents in the household, my next door neighbor didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He stayed with his grandmother,
Right.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and watched his mother and father beat on each other, on drugs and so forth. So it was a mixed culture. Me growing up was a mixed culture,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to have more friends of different backgrounds and so forth. So I understood culture, to where now I see in that same neighborhood, it's not really like that anymore.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't have friends of, like, say, Hispanic friends,
Mm-hmm.
but they go to school with the Hispanic friends. And you go to school with them, and it seems like you got tension with people because you don't know their upbringing, you don't know their background, and you don't care to.
Okay.
So people disregard that. And in the book, I got a chance to be more diverse because I was stuck with people of different backgrounds, different ethnics.
Right.
I was able to have a little patience and talk with them
Mm-hmm.
and understand their upbringing. I didn't give my chance. I didn't want to shut myself off to be this one person. You know,
Right.
I wanted to be labeled as a man instead of just a black man. He's this, he's that. I wanted to be respected by all.
Got it. So in the journey
Mm-hmm.
that would you say that you've come full circle?
I'm not yet the person that I desire to be.
Okay.
And
But you did find love.
I did find love.
And it's this young lady over here.
Yes, it is.
And this is Lachelle.
Yes.
And Lachelle, not to be so biased, but I'm sure you would. What is your take on the book, Live by the Gun, Die by the Gun? Do you think it's more for males, or do you think that females could benefit from reading this book as well?
I definitely think that women can benefit from reading the book. There's a character in the book called Chevy.
Okay.
And Chevy adores his wife. Gina is an incredible person.
Strong.
Like she's strong. She's a strong black woman who holds her man down.
Okay.
So
So stand by your man, but she's also strong.
Yes, ma'am. She's an entrepreneur.
And you're an entrepreneur.
Yes, ma'am.
And what do you do?
I own a hair salon.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys have made this journey somewhat together then, as he went through the earlier part and gave birth to this book. You were there, kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel, somewhat. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. And what would be your biggest thing you would want to see happen from this book?
The biggest thing I want to see happen is books selling out of the store.
As we all definitely.
Actually, but I want people to also see the blueprint that I put in there. I put a blueprint on how all people could get along, because we all know the problem, but not too many people giving a solution to the problem.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and I would like to start from the youth.
Okay.
You know,
That's where it all begins. It's the seed.
giving youth rehabilitation when they get in trouble. One time, if it looked like they're straying away, you know, an adult can get rehabilitation, but adult kind of made up his mind on where to go.
Mm-hmm.
We need to keep the youth intact,
Right.
and by that, I think it'll be a little bit easier for us as parents, really, because
It helps the community
It's
all
not just
through and out.
it's not just one person helping this.
It's a community.
It's the whole community.
Raising a child.
Raising a nation.
It takes a village,
Yeah,
right?
Take a
Takes a
village.
village.
Thank you, J. Anthony Jones and Lachelle. And
for
thank
having
you
us.
for watching Our Ventura, and we'll see you next time. I'm Yvette Arujo.